Good morning, Predicted Trades family. Hope everybody's doing great. Let's dig in and get ready for the day. I'm going to make this very quick and condensed. We've been waiting all week for this economic data to come out. We've got some, at 8:30 we had some inflation numbers, some income and spending, and our jobless claims, right? If you want, go check our stock news channel. On jobless claims, they're going down a little bit. Consumer income and spending went up a little bit, all favorable. I didn't see the inflation numbers just yet, but we might find that inflation is already somewhat peaking and coming back, which would be favorable for the market. And let's see, let's just dig into the market. So, yesterday, pretty much a non-event. We were stuck in these squeezes and stayed in between key levels. We never got up to test that 38.43. We could never quite get past 38.40, 38.38. And we did go down and interact with 38.07 a couple of times. We slipped overnight right down to POC. 37.73, point of control for ES for this month. So, magnet down and starting to bounce off of it with that economic data that came out. So, overall, good reaction to it. But we are at POC, and today is the last day of the month. So there will be some rebalancing, and we should prepare ourselves for potential chop and staying within a range, especially right around POC, as they could very well just want to close the month here, and then maybe we get some more interesting movement tomorrow. So let's definitely be prepared to stay in a range when we are right at POC at the end of the month. And with Beast, once we open, we know where the range of the day sits. I'll throw it on real quick. Come on, Toss. There we go. While that's loading, over here on our 4 hour, we did get below our moving averages, and our 8 MA on the 4 hour has been holding us down yesterday. Technically, the 45 and 21 are still stack bullish, and now that 8 has come down to meet our 38.07. So if we can just get back over 38.07, and then the other two are stacked at that 38.30 that we were struggling at yesterday. Getting back above those two keeps our 4 hour uptrend intact, technically. But now they've got this loaded in. We can see that ES is pretty much down at our lower region, our lower shaded zone. And the top of that zone pretty much overlaps with POC. So overall, today, opening right at POC, we have a key level below. Should we start to slip through 37.55? If we can hold POC, we can potentially make our way back to try to fill this gap back to 3800, 38.07. And if we can get above that, to that 38.30, as I stated over here, we can start using those moving averages for support if we can get through. But if we just continue to reject them, they'll push us down. So, our daily 8 and daily 15 have come down a little bit to be just above that 3807, and that's some, key numbers that we were bouncing around yesterday. So let's see if we just stay glued to POC today on most things, if we can push off POC back to yesterday's range, or if we reject POC and head lower to these next key levels down. We are already down about half of our ATR, right? Maybe a little less than half. So we know we could be going to the upside, we know we could be going to the downside, and we need to be ready for a sideways action at POC on the last day of the month. NQ. Technically, NQ made it to POC on Tuesday and chopped around it yesterday. POC is now above, so that could provide NQ a little upside just to get back to POC where those daily moving averages sit. So we could magnet up to this to close the month for NQ. If we cannot stay above 11,500, it's a very key number. If we lose that and pre-market low, we can head lower, likely back to this last bounce point, right? At around 11,333. If we can get going back to the upside, back to POC and these moving averages, if we can actually get above those, we do have a 2-hour squeeze that's still intact. And we can use that bottom and this 11,500 as support. Let's see if we fill the gap back up to the upside on NQ. The ready is right at POC. So yes at POC, ready at POC. NQ has POC above. Basically, let's just see if ready can hold pre-market low. If it starts to head lower, likely going to 1680, 1670. YM. Like I said, folks, I'm going to try to blaze through this real fast. Gave out our trend line with this gap down. On YM, POC is still way down below, kind of near this first Keltner, and 30,000. Let's see if YM can hold this first Keltner down that it's basing at, 30,600. As long as we can hold that, we can start moving our way back up to these moving averages, which are pretty much stacked kind of near yesterday's lows on YM, with a mission to get back to 31,000 and test this trend line. We still have our 2-hour squeeze intact, so let's see if the bottom of that in this daily Keltner can keep us up. Should we start to lose that, we could roll. But we could also just get to these moving averages and kind of go sideways. Apple. Apple, decently strong yesterday, was leading the upside for NQ. And got back above our key zone and was holding there all day. Now with the gap down, we are below that zone. So what was support needs to quickly become support again. If it becomes resistance, we can roll right back over, likely to 135. Where that first Keltner sits. POC on Apple way down at 131. So like back down at our lows of year. AMD. On chips, again, no interest right now. We are waiting for MU, Micron, that reports today after close. So luckily we will get to see our first glimpse of chips earnings and if they're going to guide up, guide down, how big money reacts to it, and that will set the tone for chips earnings coming up in July, and it will start to set the tone for tech earnings coming up in July. So, no interest today. Let's wait for MU to report. Then we'll have fun tomorrow with chips. Amazon made it back. Was decently strong yesterday, like Apple, with the gap down, kind of settling at lows in that first Keltner. So as long as we can hold pre-market low, where that Keltner was, we can try to make our way back up to those moving averages that we were settling at yesterday. If we start to give out, that first Keltner down, that 106, will roll back. BA, for the market to not head back down to lows, we just need BA to stay above its moving averages, which it's done a decent job of doing. So let's see today if this 1 hour squeeze can hold it up. We have a 4 hour that's out past that. If we lose this 1 hour squeeze, we'll dip down to this 15 MA, looking for that to hold. If it doesn't, market's going to be rolling more. But basically just looking for BA to stay at these moving averages, going sideways. Cat just getting beat up, almost back down to third Keltner. No real interest at the moment. We just need it to not quit heading lower. Google. Just chopped around moving averages yesterday, now below them. And basically we closed right near POC. Now we are below and at 2200. So let's see if 2200 can hold, get us back up to POC and these moving averages. 2200 gives out. 2171 is that first Keltner down, and we have some key levels below. GS. Decent strength yesterday, and we have bank earnings just around the corner. So for today, just looking for GS to stay in this 2 hour squeeze, hold these moving averages, and maybe start to recover where we were yesterday. Should we start to lose this 2 hour squeeze, we have the moving averages below and that first Keltner at 290. JPM. Looking much weaker lately than GS. No real interest. Was basically would like to see it hold the bottom of that wick, 112.5. And we do have POC above, so let's see if she wants to get back to it. Meta. Decent pop yesterday. And basically basing right at it where it took off from on Friday. So let's see if it can hold 160. The squeeze bottom. If so, we can work back up to the top. If it gives out, 155 next target. Microsoft, just looking for it to hold daily moving averages. If it loses those, back to 251, 250. If we can hold those, we do have pocket 253. That's slightly below us. But if we can hold these moving averages in pre-market low, we can just settle back up to the daily 21, around 260. Netflix. No real interest right now. She doesn't. Doesn't have earnings for a couple of weeks. Uh, 175 is POC. We are basically there. So let's see if she just stays at 175 where POC is and where this first Keltner down is. If she gives those out, could roll back to 170 if she can hold up there. It's back to the daily moving averages, 180, 185 if market gets moving. But that might happen tomorrow. NVIDIA. Almost back down to this 2-day squeeze bottom. and that second Keltner, so looking for 152 hold. And, no interest for me today. Let's let MU report. QQQ. So, on Q, very simple. We had the zone that we drew last Wednesday. We held it Thursday. We took off from it. We have come back, and yesterday it was our support with the gap down. As you can see, it can now become resistance. If we stay below this zone, we are going to likely roll over, take out pre-market low. We could get back to that 272, or at least that last bounce point, 275. We have POC, though, up above at 283, back above this zone. So if NQ and QQQ want to get back to their POCs, which are above, now that ES has made it to its POC, we could see Qs a little stronger to get back to their POC. We'd get QQQ back above this zone, back above 282. To close, that could lead to a bullish Friday if we close today above this 282. But if we keep rejecting it, we could head back to that 272. And we do have, a 2-day squeeze down at 268. Roku, not a real interest right now. Streamers not getting love this week. They are kind of the weakest, so not a huge interest. But let's see if Pocket's way up at 98, just meaning a lot of volume was exchanged up here. So let's see if Roku is going to get back to moving averages today or slip further down to 82. Shop. No interest right now. I'm going to start looking at the options next week to see how they're pricing things. That will determine if she stays on our watch list at all. Snow. Pretty strong, run up above the daily 50. Now just came back to settle between the daily 8 and daily 50. Slight gap down, still has her above the daily 8. And POC currently at 151. So yeah, stuck in between the squeeze with moving averages. Let's see if Snow wants to hold 140. If it slips that in the daily 8, 135 is where the daily 21 is. But if she can hold up, get back to 144, above that daily 50, which will likely step down to 144, 145, she can start making the journey back up. And there's been times where Snow moves on its own, independent of the market. She doesn't have earnings until late August, so plenty of time to play her. SPX came down, settled at this gap fill, almost filled it with the gap down. We'll be opening right below it. So let's see if it wants to get back up to fill that gap to the upside. That would mean completely filling, at least if it were to get back up, completely filling this old gap, which didn't quite get fully filled, and then also filling today's gap down. So in a way, 2 stacked gaps that could be taken out to the upside. We could just settle in them, or we could reject them and head lower. We do have this old gap way back. So, going to be opening between these gaps. Let's see if it can fight up through this one, or if it becomes resistance and starts to send us down. And with ES opening at POC, we can always just go sideways. So, SPY. 374, very key, and it is now POC. So opening right near POC, let's see if it takes a quick dip to tap 374. As long as that can hold, we can work our way back up to fill the gap. But we could also just chop here at POC, right? Tesla thesis every day has just been on point. Yesterday we're opening near 690. Should we start to lose that, we could get to 681. If we really pick up selling, back to our zone below, but we had that daily Keltner, which didn't quite test it, but at least allowed us to come back. Also, when we were at the lows, the 700 call was hitting beast and getting bought up. It went from about $5 to $9. So pretty much a double. Now we are back near yesterday's lows. So on Tesla, pretty simple, looking for yesterday's lows to hold. We do have a 1 hour squeeze bottom there. That infamous 666 number that the sickos on Tesla love to parker at. So we have POC way up at 734. Let's see if Tesla at least wanted to hold yesterday's low, pre-market low, squeeze bottom to send us back through 681, 690. Squeeze top right up in between 690, 695. And daily moving averages, likely the 15 will step down right at that squeeze top. The 8 could step down right near that 695. So we got a number of magnets to the upside. Let's see if we can get there. If Tesla gives out this 666, we have key level below, or key zone below as our first target, and this daily squeeze bottom at 640. And VIX. Yesterday, thesis was stuck between two key levels, 28, 29.2. We slapped 29.2, slipped almost to 28, but stayed inside this squeeze, bouncing around daily moving averages, and slipping back to 28 for a full test near close. Now that with the gap up, if the gap up is going to continue and go, meaning the gap down on the market will continue and go, VIX will tap 29.21 and keep going through 30. Key level of 30 and 29.2. Also, the daily 15 is catching up to that 30. So basically, we will continue further down if we break the 15 and 30. If we continue to stay below those and get back below 29.2, back to these moving averages, we'll see some upside and potential gap fill on the market. That's it for today. Hopefully that was helpful for everybody. Don't forget to pick up your Beast tools, and for any of the folks in our free section, you have a Beast tool for today and tomorrow that will work for you on options on SPY, QQQ, Apple, AMD, and Microsoft. So enjoy testing out the system on those options contracts. And we'll see you guys in chat today. Good luck.